Thank you. Hopefully you got the recordings on the Google Classroom from the last two sessions. So here, we're just going to do a basic question first. So if we say, there we go, what is my dog's name? And I can either upload an image that's from my computer, I can add a YouTube link, or I can just go to the image library. So I'm just going to type in dog. Again, these are royalty-free pictures, so I can just put that in. Now, one of the things I did with that first question, with the one with Roy Orbison, you've got this little section here for image reveal. It's a really great little game here where what it does is it kind of, a bit like on, what's the quiz show? Catchphrase, where it kind of slowly reveals a picture. You know, if you're doing like a science round or something, you know, what part of the body is this? You can have an image reveal as it goes. That's fine. Then all we're going to do is we're going to put the answers, potential answers in here. And once you've typed in the answers, that little circle there, you just click the tick if that is what the correct answer is. Once you're happy with that, you go, yep. And then we're going to add a question. Now, when you hit add a question, you've got quite a few different options that you can kind of select from this. So true or false, same as the last one, but 1 or 2. If we go type answer, so if I go back to my, what year was that? Hastings. Now I can type in here 1066. What I would say is if you've got one that's, you know, what was the name of Romeo's family, and you want to put, I can't remember if it was Capulets or Montagues, you may want to put like add other accepted answers, especially if the spelling may be a little bit difficult for them. So you're not kind of isolating people purely on literacy skills if they've got the knowledge there. So you may want to put in here, I say they accidentally put more than 1 6 in there or something. You're not going to penalize them for something as daft as that. Again, let's go to add question. Let's look at some other options we got here. We can put a poll in. We can have word cloud, so it doesn't just have to be purely based on knowledge. You know, if we go to a word cloud, if you've never seen one before, so I can say, how are you feeling? And what this will do, it'll generate a huge wall with all these words that they selected. I've used this before. I think I did one yesterday, which was give me some words to describe a cloud. If you look at literacy lessons, it's a way of getting lots of different adjectives and bits and pieces for them. Now, what you can also do with this, and what I quite like about this, is you've also got up here, you've got the kind of the mathematical symbols that you may want to add. So if you want to add maths questions in, so if we say here, let me take that off. Actually, I'll get rid of that one there. You know, you can add these extra bits in and then put the answer there. You've also got the symbols. So if you do want to add extra symbols in, they are there, especially if you're doing some sort of math question. So it doesn't always have to be literacy based that you put in there. So you can add those as well. So it's not purely based on those sorts of things. It's quite a lot. If you want to add any YouTube video, so let's say we want to add a YouTube video in there. I've got to find a YouTube video now. Let's take that Margaret Thatcher one. There we go. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that link. And then what I can do here is I can actually select. So that's a 2-minute video. But I may want to say I want it to start at 53 seconds and end at 57. So I may just want to select a small section of it. So if you know a larger documentary and you go, oh, there's a really good little snippet there for health and well-being or something, I can pick how much of that video it actually shows. So when it plays it now, it will just play those sections for the classroom. And that's kind of really the key thing from creating the quiz. Let me just populate it. I'll just click done. Once you've done, let me just fix this. There we go. Now, once you've saved it, it gets saved to your account. And the great thing with this is it'll keep all of your Kahoot videos that you've ever done. So I've done them here. I did it as like a recap for my students. Now, what I would say is really key for you to do with this is you can hit this little 3 dots here, and I can duplicate it. So I can go back in, I can change it, I can play around with it. But I can also, if I click on it, I can look at the reports. So I did this one a while ago, and I can go back in to look at the data, the questions that they provided, so all of the kind of questions I've done, I can get that information. So if I go to today's one, okay, fantastic, good. I can go back through and see all the people's data who took part in the quiz. So I can go back through individual players. So well, there's Leanne, she got 83% correct, her final score. But also I can look at maybe where there's potential issues. So are there people who got certain questions incorrect? I can go back through the questions as well, and I can identify which ones were people really struggling with. So there was a few wrong answers with the Battle of Hastings. So maybe I need to go back and go, okay, well, this is the key thing. And this is what you're looking at with something like Kahoot. It's not merely a run a quiz, have a bit of fun. As a teacher, it gives you a great opportunity to find out those students who are struggling, who are maybe requiring specific support. And also for you to go, drop, I need to maybe recap that section yet again with the classroom. And it's an easy way of doing it than purely saying to the group, what would you like to relook at? What are you finding struggle? It's an easy way of kind of evaluating that process. Any questions at all on Kahoots? Put them in the little drop box and I'll happily answer them right now. No? None at all? Fantastic. Okay. So let's have a look at some of the things I wanted to look at next. What am I going to look at? Okay. I'm going to look at the new Office 3. Oh, we've got a question, sorry. Yes. Okay. So let's go back. So Fiona's asked a really great question. Can she set it as a homework activity? Thank you. You're keeping me on my toes. Now with Kahoots, if I log into my account and I go to one, I can set it as a task for students. So let's go to the Kahoots on the top bar, which is my one. And I'm going to go here. So this is the one I did. No, this one here. And then when I go to play and hit play, I've got a few options I can do here. So I can either assign it to learners to play it at their own pace. This one here is the one I did with you, which was a live game together. But if I hit assign, fantastic, good. What this does is it gives me a date when it should be completed by. I can take the question timer off. I can also randomize the answer order, which is always quite good. Because otherwise, the amount of times I've had students who say, oh, by the way, question 3, the answer is A. Now, once I've done that, I just hit create. And what that will do is it will put my game live. Now, once it's live, I've got the little Google Classroom button there. So I'm going to hit that Google Classroom button, and then I'm going to share it to my class. And I'm going to set it as, I'm going to put it as an announcement rather than an assignment for them. And I'm going to hit go. So have a go at this fun quiz. And I can post it. So what I've done now is that Kahoot quiz is live. It doesn't need me sat there. The students can do it in their own time. And if we go to our Google Classroom, here's our group. There we go. There's our quiz. And as a student, I can click on it. And it's going to take me straight to that page where I can then, so I can put my name in and I can take part in this quiz at my own pace. So it doesn't need me sat there playing around with it, but it still has a sort of fun elements about it. It still has the same sort of challenge. Then as a teacher, you can go into your account, go to your reports. It will show you which games are live, and you'll be able to see the results as they come in and play around with it. Thank you, Phil. That's a great question to ask. So it's much appreciated. Any other questions at all, please pop them in the box. Keep me on my toes. It's always good. Okay. So the next tool I want to look at now is the new 365 packages. Now, Office 365, it's one of those tools which I'm still amazed. There's a huge amount in it which people aren't using as best as they can. And I think it's because so much they're thinking, well, it's just Word, PowerPoint, Excel. But the new features have got huge amounts of kind of benefits for us in our classroom for collaborative learning, accessibility, and so on. So what I've done is I've gone onto Office 365, which is my online account, and I've just opened up a PowerPoint that I'm going to run. So I can run this as a session in my classroom. Now, the first feature I'm going to kind of talk to you about is with the new dictaphone recording session. So say, for example, I'm going to type into this box here. So again, this is good for our students. Let's put a text box. There we go. Click to add text. Now, here on the right-hand side now, I have a dictation device. So I can hit that button there. And then what this will do, as I talk, it will start adding it straight into the box for me. Full stop. There we go. So if you want to add punctuation, you have to make sure that you say comma and then go on with the rest of it. But that's one of the main kind of features that's come in, this idea for dictation. You can spend a fortune on things like DragonSpeak and other software, but this is pretty accurate and it's free and it's available. Full stop. Nice. Now, again, if we go to the PowerPoint, what you'll see on here, it's just here, dictation. Now, you can pick the language that you're going to speak into. So at the moment, it's got French, German, Italian, and Spanish. It hasn't got Welsh in it yet, but they are working on a few things for it. The next one I want to look at, if we go to slideshow now, one of the things I really love is this rehearse with coach. Now, if I go to rehearse with coach, what this is going to do is this is going to take me to my slideshow, and this is where I will practice with it. So as I start rehearsing, what it will do is it will look at it and see, analyze how I'm speaking and what it's going to do, and it's going to give me some feedback at the end of the presentation and make sure that I'm aware and everything's going to be suitable for the learners. And it starts giving me this instant feedback. It will also pick up things such as if policeman and the fireman are key for going, okay. So it started to now pick up words and language that I will say. It will also pick up things such as bad language and profanity, which I'm not going to lower myself to for the analysis. So this is our presenter. If I end the presenter mode, so I'll come out of it, it gives me this report. It tells me my pace, it tells me how it goes over time, and it also picks up my sensitive phrases that I may have boldly said. That was quite fun to test out. It does work with swearing as well, I will assure you. You can do that in your own time. But again, something like this is great for the students in the classroom, get them to practice and they get these reports. And again, it's another idea of getting that gamification. So many, something like this is where they can practice and they can see. I use this with our trainee teachers and I'll get them to do this. If you're mentoring any trainee teachers in your classroom, this is a great little kind of test for them. Okay, how fast am I speaking? You don't really know unless you record yourself. So, it's a great little tool that is available, and that is just under slideshow and then rehearse with coach. Now, one of the things that I think is going to be really beneficial in the new 365 package is the subtitling. Now, if I hit the subtitles here, I can pick the spoken language that I'm speaking. So I'm going to go English UK. And then I can go subtitle language, and I can pick a huge amount of different languages: Czech, Danish, Dutch. And then at the bottom, they finally added Welsh. Now, what this is going to do is now when I come to present, it will start up subtitles at the bottom of my screen. It will take a little while for it to pick up. Let me just move this out of the way. There we go. So now when I start doing my presentation, do I have any members of the group here who are fluent in Welsh? Say yes. Unmute and say yes, please.
Yes.
Who
Yes.
said, shout your name.
Maisie.
Chloe Humphreys.
Yeah, Jones.
Where are you, Chloe? I'm scrolling through trying to find
Sorry.
there you are, Chloe. Okay, so you're going to judge the quality of the Welsh translation for me at the bottom of the screen, if that's okay. Is it quite accurate so far?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
A bit.
Is it a little bit off?
A little bit.
A little bit. It's not too horrific. I've done it a few times. I think the hardest thing, especially with the Welsh, is the verb phrases and bits and pieces. But it's another accessibility feature to add here. Now, where I think something like this is really beneficial, a lot of time in the classroom, if you've got learners who are second language, maybe you have Polish or Bulgarian students in your classroom, what a lot of time I see is that those learners become isolated. Too often they're kind of, for different things where you're presenting to the class, they're not able to really sit in that room with you. But having this subtitle feature means that you can still deliver the session and they can take part with the rest of the class. Again, if you're using something like Zoom to record your session, as I am right now, you can then upload it to the classroom. We're going to look at some video editing later on. So I'll show you can create little videos for them with the subtitles. Unfortunately, I think Will asked me a great question. He said, can we save these translations? And they haven't done that yet. But again, if you record this on Zoom, it's a great way of saving these translated recordings for you. It also goes the other way. Do I have anyone here who can speak French? How quiet. No one. Okay, then you're going to get my dreadful French, because we can also flip it the other way. So if I said, j'ai mangé le petit chien et le petit déjeuner. Yes. That's what GCSE gets you in French, okay? So you can flip it and have other languages. It doesn't just have to be English that it picks up. So it's a great tool for this accessibility features to add in subtitles to your sessions, especially if you're going to be doing these as kind of away from the classroom. You want to make some little videos for them. You've got instant text to help with people, and that's all available on the new 365 packages. Any questions at all about the Rehearse, Dictaphone, or the subtitles so far? Please pop them in the chat box, and I'll more than happily answer them. So yeah, it's only on the online version, which is completely free. If you have it in your school, what you may need to do is talk to your IT admin and make sure it's set for them to do it. I know a lot of places, they haven't got it available, but it is a free element for education settings. So if you do want to have the subtitles, speak to your IT admin and make sure it's there. So yeah, it's only on the online versions, and this is why the 365 package is so good and should be used quite regularly. So great question, thank you. Any other questions at all? Pop them in the chat box. No? Okay. So let's have a look at how this works as a collaboration tool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to my let's go back to my 365. So with this, the new 365 as well, is you can set up and you can share documents between people. This may be something that you already do with staff already, but it's something, again, you can set up for your learners. So a lot of the time, what I do is I'll set up a template. So I've just got a basic Word document here. I'm going to give it a file name. So I'm going to call it test2. There we go. Now on your main screen here, you're going to go to share. And then what you're going to do is you're going to type in the web address for the people. Now I'm going to swap the account because my work account won't let me share it with someone who's not part of that system. But if I go to the basic free one, I'm going to share it with somebody else. So let's go to new blank document. And once it decides to load, what you'll have is you'll have a share button at the top. And this is quite simple for our learners to do. You can do it a few ways as well. You can also send it via a link, which I'll show you how to do that as well. Got it. It is taking its time. This is why Firefox is dreadful, I'm sorry. Fantastic. So again, if you're looking to collaborate as a group, go to share. And then what it'll do is it'll give you this little box here. And this is where you can start adding things in. So you've got a few options here. You can either have allow for editing, or you can turn editing off. You can also set an expiration date, and you can also set a password. So on the schools one, I know that you can set a password for this. So if you're you're working as a group on documents which may have student names, it may be worth setting a password when you share it between them. So if that link goes elsewhere, no one can access it without a password there. Now I can copy a link. So I've copied that. And what I can do is I can put this on my Google Classroom. So if I go here, I can go add, and I can add link. And I can add the link there. So I can say test out the Office 365 link. So now putting that link on there and posting it, if you do get the chance, you are on the Google Classroom and you've got a 365 package, if you click on that link, it will take you to that page. If I click on it myself here, what this will do, this will take me, this is my, I've got several accounts for this one. So I'll show you what it looks like from my side. So that's one account there, and that's the master one on the other side. So what I've got here, so I'm going to edit this. Oh, someone's on it already. Fantastic. Good to see. So we've got somebody on there who's clicked the link. Fantastic. Now, if you're doing it through the school one, when they log in, it will say who's put what and where. But we can start now, as you can see here. I've shared this with a group of people and allowed them to kind of put bits and pieces on so they can work collaboratively on a topic. Now, what you may want to do here is create a worksheet or create a template, share that on the groups and allow them to play around with it. So it's quite a good little way of getting them to work together on a topic. Now, with the 365 package, what's kind of really useful for us is you also have here, you have the little comment section. So I can start adding comments on here. You can give them roles and you can say to them, okay, you know, I'd like, so I'm going to put a little comment in here and go, who will complete the first question? And then the others will see that comment, get them to start taking ownership and sharing their ideas. And those comments will stay on the main document. Now, if you create this and share it with them, you'll be able to see that thought process and that thinking process as they go through the completion of the task. So I've got 5 people on here so far. I've got Bethan. I've got a few other people who've just clicked on it. And I can see you're all working on this document at the same time. Now, that is also the same for the PowerPoint. I can share it exactly the same with the same sort of document and all the other kind of tools that are on there, Excel, Sway, and so on. So it's always a good one to have there if you're looking for collaborative learning. So I'll close that down. Any questions at all about the sharing of documents on Word, PowerPoint, or anything? Pop them in the chat box, and I'll answer them as soon as I can. You can upload a document already made. So yeah, if I go back to my Word here. So here, this is my Word account, because what you get is you get your OneDrive. Now, here are ones I've already created in the past. And here I can just drag a file to upload and open. So I can take one off my computer. Let's take one off my computer. And I can just upload that. There you go. So I've just dragged and dropped it off my desktop, and I've now put that on to my computer for people to play and look at. I'm actually going to hide that because that's work. Got some more questions coming in. Now, some are showing as guests because they've not logged in through the account. If you're doing it with your students, they'll have to log in with the student account, which they would do anyway. So that will come up with their name when you share it with them. What would always be useful as well is just to, rather than copy the link, actually add the web address, their email address in, and then they have to go for their email address to open it. Okay, so let's look at some of the other features with the 365 package. Now, what they've added now with the new ones are apps. And there's quite a few applications that we can use, which people haven't really kind of played with before. So if we go to PowerPoint, we can go to add-ins, and they've now created this polling tool. So if I type in poll, I can add a polling tool. So it's not just a slideshow now. I've just added this polling tool. So you've got to create an account for this one, which isn't too. Can I remember my password? Okay. Always helps if you can remember your password. I'm just going to sign up. But Poll Everywhere is exactly the same as Mentimeter. So you can create a poll and put it straight into your PowerPoint. Another tool that's available, even if we look at Excel now with the applications, is the ability to add live maps. Now, this is always useful for any sort of data collection. So again, I'm just going to use Excel this time to show you the use of applications. I can go to Insert, I can go Office Add-ins, and I'm going to try and remember the name of it. I'm pretty sure it's just called Bing Maps. There we go, good. So Bing Maps, what this will do is it will change the data from purely being just, let's put insert, let's close insert sample data. So I can put places in here. So let's get rid of this. And let's put Wrexham. Let's put Chester, Liverpool. Yeah. So what this will do now with this application is it will create the data form and it will start adding this information. If you're looking at attendance data or if you're looking at data for finance or anything, it's a new little feature they've started to put in there. Again, it's a great way of getting your students to start analyzing, you know, if they're working geography, science, anything like that at all, you can add all these different things in. I really recommend looking at the Office add-ins that you get from 365. There are so many kind of bits and pieces that are now available on here. So I know there is the mathematical symbols, which, there we go. So you can embed calculators that are in there to help support the learners. If they want to go into finance, again with the education, let me get rid of the maths. There's little bits and pieces in here that will really kind of help explore what is actually quite maybe a bland software for a lot of students. So it's one of those ones where I say, get the chance, get involved and have a look at it. Now, another tool I want to look at, which is, again, it's on the Office 365. It's one that a lot of people don't really play around with that much. And it's a little bit of a shame. And that is the Microsoft Sway. Now, Sway, for those that have not used it or played around with it before, creates an interactive tool, like a newsletter or anything like that tool, which we can use to help share our learners' work. I'll show you an example of what a Microsoft Sway looks like. So this is one here. So this was created by a teacher who wanted to kind of showcase drone footage and bits and pieces, and they put it together. It's a nice, it kind of looks like a magazine sort of style. But the one I want to look at to create with you is, here's one I created for mentoring. So what I wanted to create was a document that I could share with the mentors for our teachers. And that's the wrong one. There's a couple there. There we go, Introduction to Mentoring. Fantastic. So Sway can start to pull in all these different tools that we're going to use to create what is kind of a more, it's like a basic, like a web page or a newsletter. So on my Sway here, I've got the main information. I've got an interactive Padlet, which you can add on. I've put a video in there, got some text, and then I've got some links here to Mentimeter and other websites. Got some images that, again, they can go through and they can add to. And it's a great way of creating a reference tool for students throughout the year. Now, it is one of those ones where it is quite simple to create this and for them to play around. And I'll just kind of guide you through. So if I go to New Blank Sway, what you get this time is you get the pages as a list. So let's say, for example, we want to create a review of, the maths module. I can add a background to it. Again, it's just click and play. So let's just put maths in there. Let's get some images of whatever maths looks like. Now I've got a few. Let's go through Bing. There, that looks like maths. I'll add that. So my first page will look like that. It looks a little bit more interesting. Next up, I'm going to add my next little slide there. So I've got insert content, and then I've got a few options of what I can do. I can either add a new heading, I can add text, I can add images or stack. I'm going to go for a text section. Now here is where, in this section, we will look at the following. So you can start putting your bits and pieces in there. Fantastic. Let's add our next page. And maybe on this next page, I want to put, let's say, some media. Now, I can do a few things here. I can add a video. So I can drag a video. So if I have one on file, so let's say I've got one on file, which I do. And I can add that video straight off my computer, and I can put that on there. Again, this is a great opportunity for you to create your own videos using Zoom and then add them in if you want to add that voiceover. Again, that personalized element to your tool. I can also add other media. I can add audio. So again, if I want to record something on audio, I can then add that in there. I also have the option here to record. So if I want to get a voiceover onto my activity, I can add a voiceover now to that slide or that piece of information to help share with the learners. There we go. I can add there, lovely, good. So we're starting to build up this activity. Again, it's another one for you to really kind of get involved with. Next up, I'm going to insert, let's say I want to add a slideshow. Now, a slideshow, I can copy it. Say I want to add a series of images. So I can group together a load of pictures as a small slideshow for the learners. Now, we've only kind of put this together very basically. I'm going to add more features to it as we go. But if we look at the design of it, we can see how this will be for the group. So they'll go play, and you've got something that looks a little bit glossier. They can scroll through, they can see all the different features. There's the audio for them to play. I can add, there we go, lovely. There's the video. That was done on Zoom. And there's our slideshow of pictures we can add. What we're going to look at after the break is we'll look at how to add some more collaboration tools. So how to add Mentimeter, Padlet, Poplar, and lots of other features. And Sway is a great way of kind of adding that to it. So that's the intention, to keep building onto our Sway. Any questions at all so far about some of the features of 365 and Sway in particular? Please pop them in the chat box and we will answer them straight away. No? Okay, guys, we're going to have a short break, about 8 minutes. That will give you some time. I will pause the recording. So resume the recording. Was about the text-to-speech element. We've got the idea of where you speak and it types, but what about, does it go the other way? And yeah, it does. I just forgot to add. This is why that chat box is so important. Ask me questions. So if I just share this with you. So if you go to the, say for example, I've got here, this is a document here. What you want to look at is, under tell me what you want to do. You want to look for immersive reader. Now what immersive reader does is it makes it firstly a little bit clearer for the student. And also it will start reading elements out to them. Let me just move where that is. So I can now hit play.
Your evaluation should be a critical reflection of the observed session from the perspective of the observer, the learners, and yourself.
Now what you can also do here is you can change the voice. So if you want it to be a male because you don't want to get told what to do by a lady.
Yourself. This must include appropriate.
Okay. You can also slow down the speed. So if you want it to be the speed of a tortoise or I think that's a rabbit or a hare. So I can,
links to literature and research. Follow.
Bit too fast. Why they'd even put that setting, I don't know. What you can also do here as well is you can change the reading preferences. So if you want to make it a bit easier for people to see, it will kind of select just the line it's on so they can follow that individual line rather than just the entire document. It will also translate it for you. So if you have a large piece of text and that you've written, you want it translated, it will translate the entire document for you and have that available. Now, don't think it translates, it reads it back in that language, but it will translate the document for you. What you can also do is you can also select a piece of text. And again, I can go, tell me what I want to do, and I can go translate. And it will bring me this section here. So it will translate from the language to another language. Dion, my Welsh counterpart. They are, Dion. Hello, how are you and your wine? What's the translation like there? Not bad, okay, pretty dreadful? Comme ci, comme ça? That face is such a typical face of, yeah, you kind of got the grammar right.
Yeah, it's not too, it makes sense, but yeah.
Okay.
Full of big words.
Again, you can change it into a range of different languages that are going to be beneficial for your learners. I know we have in some of the schools, we've got a large amount of Portuguese students again, but it's something that's available on the Office 365 package. you're looking for immersive reader, and you're looking for translate. And they're the two tools that are available as add-ins to 365. Okay. Those things were really a little bit dull, but they're quite useful. Let's come back with something a little bit jazzier, and we'll go from there. I want to look at a tool called Story Jumper. Now, there is another tool called Storybird, but it costs an absolute fortune to get an access, get a code for it. But Story Jumper is something I really quite like from a creative writing perspective for our learners. So what you can do with storyjumper.com is you can create books. So I'm going to go to create book. Now I can follow a template that's already here, but I'm going to go blank, and I'm going to create a blank book because that's what I want to do. I don't need to watch the video because I've already done it. So what you get here, down the bottom, you get your pages of your book, and then on your screen you get two little pages here. So I can start to add pictures in. So let's add a scene. I'm gonna do a story. Wonderful. So I've just added the scene in. Let's add some props. I'm going to add a character in. I'm going to put a cat. So there's my story is going to be about this cat. There we go. And I don't want a witch in it. It's going to be about the story of a cat and a duck. Okay, good. So there is my basic story. I can add some text now to the next page. Let's add some text in there. So the cat and the duck went to the shops to buy some bread as the duck was hungry and that. Okay. Now, I've created a very, very basic little story here, but the great thing for this and what I can do is I can actually now add my voice to narrate the story. So let's add my voice to it. Apologies, it's my voice. It's very monotone and very boring. So here I go. This is the best I can do for a child's book. The cat and the duck went to the shops to buy some bread as the duck was hungry and now. Wonderful, okay. So there we go, we've got that. I can now add some music to it. So let's add some music. What kind of goes well with, what's that sound like? Oh, I like that. So I'm going to add some music to it. I'm going to add some sound effects. No, I don't like that. I'm going to add the cat sound. Yeah, put that in there. And now I've saved it. So what I've got now is I have my little interactive story for my children to play around with. So here's my little book. Let's go edit voice. Let's hear what it sounds like. The cat and the duck went to the shops to buy some bread as the duck was hungry in there. Wonderful. Now, that, I'll be honest, is a blimmin' brilliant story so far. We're quite excited with this. I'm quite happy with that. So let's now add our next page. So all I do is I go at the bottom, I go to the next page, and I'm going to add some scenes in because they're now going to find a scene. Now here, I'm going to go, oh, I need to add some more scenes and bits and see what there is. Now I can search photos and I can find some more bits. So say I want to have, is there a shop? Let's go to a shop. And I'm going to buy it from a clothes shop. There, a boulangerie. Fantastic. And I'm going to have that as a scene. Wonderful. Good. So I've got my supermarket in. Now I'm going to go back to my prop. Where's my cat? There's my cat. Fantastic. And there's the cat. And where's my duck? Fantastic. The next page again, I can start adding text, and there's loads of little bits and pieces I can put in here. So, yay, they found apples, what they wanted. Hey, it's food. Okay. So this is a great way of getting your stories and kind of collating them together and making something as a group. Now what they can do here, and what I really like about this idea, is the collaboration. So if they hit collaborate, what they can do is you can share this with a group of students. So I'm going to invite this as a co-author, and I'm going to go to my other student's account now. So let's kind of share this one. Hopefully they've got this email now. So what you can do is you can have several learners working together on their own storybook. Yes, I want to make a book with you. Fantastic. Yes, I'll join that book. So it will ask them to create an account. They can create it just with the Google, the Gmail login or the Hub login. It absolutely works fine. But what I can do is I can have several of the children, or yourself as staff members, working together on this kind of book together and kind of getting some ideas and sharing. Now, once you've finished this document, all you hit is, well, we'll just save it, but we're going to hit finished. And yes, I've finished this book. Now, there's a couple of options. Once they've finished it, I can publish this book. I can share it. So if I share it, what I can do is I can copy the share link and I can put that on the Gmail page. So for example, once it's on there, what they'll see when someone comes on, they'll see this. They'll get to click through. And they'll go, oh, next page. And then it'll have a little listen there. The cat and the duck went to the shops to buy some bread, as the duck was hungry in there. Wonderful. The cat and the duck. Stop. Now, the thing I really like about this, and where it kind of goes that step further, and what I think is really kind of beneficial, is this idea of, well, what can we do next with this? So let's go back to my library of where I've made this book. So where's my book? Book I've created. And what I can do is I can buy this book. Now I've got a few options here. It is American, so it does take a little bit with the delivery time, but I can have it turned into a hardcover. And I can have that sent to me in the post. Once the students have worked, they can have this hardcover book. They can also have it as a paperback book created, or as an ebook for a lot cheaper. And what it will also do, it will also include a little voice link. So if you want to make a book for them and include your voice, what it does is it gives them a little QR code on their phone or their tablet, and they can kind of scan in. And it's a really nice way of creating something as a group, which, you know, if you work on it collaboratively together, you can create this like nice little book for them to have. Again, what you can do is they can work on existing ones that are out there. They can edit them and play around. So this is one that somebody else has created. Well, none of that. You can sing if you really want to, but I assure you, I will not be singing. This is why I never worked in a primary school. I'm a dreadful singer. So Story Jumper is a really nice way of getting people to collaboratively write, share. It's creative, it's fun. And like I said, I love the fact that you can record the voice with it as well, because it adds that personal feature for it. It's something that you could make very quickly, very easily, and add that personalized feature for it. So people can share with it, you know, oh, that's my teacher, she's reading that, or that's my teacher, he wrote this book for us. And you can get the students to record it as well. So maybe they can have a page each. It's just a nice collaborative tool. And the fact that they can all work on it together is a nice little thing for them. So that's always good. Another creative writing tool, which I really liked, is this idea of the make-believes comics. So with the comic one here, this is makebelievescomics.com. Again, I'll put all the links on the page for you here. What it does is it gives a kind of a blank template. Let me start a new one over, because I was playing around with it earlier. So what you've got here is you can add a series of panels, and the students can create comics based on anything they want, really. So what they get here, there's our first little panel. So I'm going to add, I'm going to put a background in. Again, it's just click and play. Let's go back. I can have my characters. So let's go to the characters that are available for the students. We'll have that lad there. He's going to be fumigating something. There we go. And we can just move him around. Let's go back through. And then we can add these talk boxes. And it is just one of these tools where they can kind of play around and they can add it to the box. So click on our next box that we've got there, and we're going to add something different. So let's just add it as a background color instead. A bit too dark. I'll have a lighter color instead. And we're going to add some objects. So what objects can we add in here? I don't know, let's do some science. There we go, there's our science. And I'm going to add a character in there. Oh, I need to find a scientist. Is there a scientist? No, we'll have that lad. He looks happy. So he's discovered something. So this is a tool really that kind of allows for, oh, I like that. I'll put the Bunsen burner there actually. Add some talk balloons. Actually, I don't want to add talk balloons. I'm going to add words. So let's put some words in there. So it's got these pre-designed things for them. Again, the focus for the learner is going to be on the story they create and the sharing together of the ideas. So let's put a little text box in there. And we can play around with that. What we can do is we can actually change the scale of it. So if that's a bit too small, we can increase the size of that and hopefully that'll fit the wording. They may need a larger box there for it to play around with. But it's a nice, simple tool for them to play around, get the creative story, and they can do this all online. Now with this, the thing about it, because it provides the pictures and the images that are there, and they can't add extra others, it gets them really to think creatively about, well, what can we do with what we've got on offer here? Also keeps it quite safe that they're not just adding any silly things into it, they're focusing purely on the story. Now, once they've done this, they'll give it a name. So we'll call this test 3. They can put their name on there. And then once it's saved, they can then, if they go to print, they can save it to their computer. And then that's saved as a little page for them as an image. So if you're making, say, a newsletter for the classroom, you could say to one of the students, oh, we'd like you to make a comic strip for it to go at the bottom of the cartoon. And you've got that as a little image, and you can add it into your room for them. And that's Make Beliefs Comics. It's a really nice little tool to play around with. Any questions at all on the... Indeed. Any questions at all on the Story Jumper or Make Beliefs Comics? Please put them in the chat box. Great question, Rebecca. Again, they're not an app, but they are quite easy to use because it's just, I think it's the simplicity of the controls that are on there, because it is literally drag and drop. I think where some of the things when they go onto a tablet become quite difficult are where, so say for example, creating Nearpod on an iPad is an absolute nightmare because the buttons get quite small, but interacting with it's quite easy because it's quite large. I think with this, because it's quite limited in what you can do, I think that's actually a benefit for use on a tablet or an Android device, because it is just click and drop. You're not having to copy and paste things from other websites. It provides you with all the tools on one page, so you're not having to move between quite a few. So great question, thank you. Yeah, I think that's one of the benefits I really like about it, is that it's accessible on quite a few platforms. Good questions, guys. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to look at was a video editing tool. Now, if you're looking to make videos, it's a great way of kind of, again, adding that interactive and collaborative element to your slides and sessions. And you can pay for software that's on there. If you use myself personally, I use a MacBook for making videos, but I think we discussed yesterday about the pricing of it and stuff. But Animoto.com is a really great tool that is available. It's online for creating and editing videos together. So I'm going to just guide you through this one. So what Animoto does, it starts off by giving you've got the options here for pre-made templates. How do you want your video to look? So say you want to make a weekly newsletter for your classroom, or an educational promotion for your school, or anything like that at all, you can follow these templates. So I'll show you what these templates look like here. Okay, so very nice. So what this does is, this is what it will look like, the video. Okay, and once I'm happy with that, I'm going to go choose template. Now, you can upload straight from here if you've got any videos or anything straight from the start. So you can whack everything straight on here. But I'm just going to skip this and I'll get through at a later stage. Now, on your main screen that you're going to see, let me just throw you guys down there. You have, let's go to my project. This is your main design screen here. And you can play each element just to see what it looks like. Lovely. And then down the bottom here, you actually have what the slides look like. So this is the template that is provided. So these are the slides that are there. So say, for example, I wanted to use this slide. All I do is I can click into the box. So that's, I can just type straight in to the pre-made template that's there and add those features. Very nice. What I can do again is I can actually get rid of the things that are on there. So I'm just going to, I've clicked on it and I'm going to click on delete. So I don't actually want that image there. I can go to stock here and it gives me quite a few options of what I can do. So stock are pre-made and free to use videos and bits and pieces that are here. So say, for example, I want to add that video instead. All I do is I drag and drop into the screen that is available. So if I just want to look at videos, I can just select just purely the videos that are there. And that will kind of just showcase. So maybe I don't want that one. I'm going to pick that one there. Let's put that one there. So I've got these pre-made stock videos that are kind of available for me. Let's go to my next slide. Again, it's giving me this template that's pre-made, and I can just delete these bits and pieces here. Now, again, it does give me the stock images. So if I want to type in school, I can select a school photo. And again, these ones here are all free to use. If it's got the little star above it, that means that you have to pay for those ones. But again, why are you paying for it? Go to Pixabay.com. Pixabay's got a huge amount of royalty-free images. So if you want to have something for your school, and okay, that's a nice picture. I'll download that. So once I've got my picture here, what I can do, if I go to my media library, I can just drag and drop my images into my Animoto logo. And then once I'm happy, I just drop it onto my screen. So I can change the scale of it. So maybe I want just there, that's better. And I can put these little videos on here. Now, it doesn't just have to be pictures that I add to my video. Say I want to add something else. So let's go to click to drag. So what I've got here is I've got some bits and pieces that I've saved. I'm an absolute pain in the backside during Zoom meetings. So I put a lot of daft Zoom backgrounds on. So I've just imported a video. Yeah, weekly newsletter. It's great. I'll show you the template for that, actually. It's great. So I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to take, I've got this video here, which is my Zoom background for when I'm at work. Just because I know it irritates a lot of people if I've got the Brady Bunch behind me. So this is a video I downloaded. Again, I think I showed SS YouTube yesterday. It's a great way of doing it. Now, say for example, you wanted to do a video like a newsletter. It doesn't just have to be text. So what I'm going to do on here is I'm going to go to design, and I'm going to pick a setting of how I want the design to look. So I'm going to pick this, that one there looks quite cool, fantastic. And I'm going to go to the layout, and I want the layout to be video and text. Now here, this little kind of button here, I can upload a video, and I really do say again, use Zoom. Zoom is a real easy way to record short clips and put them into your main screen. So I've recorded a Zoom video, which is the same one I looked at yesterday. So let me just get rid of that. And I can drag and drop this into my activity. So let's play that slide. Now, what it will do is, when it's done full, it will have the volume in there. But you can create these quite cool sort of interactive little videos for you, or especially like for a newsletter. What are you up to this week, and bits and pieces. Let's change the scale of it. There we go. I'm quite happy with that. Now maybe I want to change the design. Actually, I don't like that one. I'm going to go for that instead. That's a lot better. Good. I can add music to it. So if I want to kind of make this an interactive thing, yeah, I like that one there. That video. So what I've done now is I've added this video that I did on YouTube. I've added some background music. Lisa, you're ahead of the game. You can post it to everything. I'm going to showcase this. This is why I kind of showed the YouTube yesterday. So what I've done now is I've just put a very simple video together. Add some bits and pieces. It does take a little bit of time because it's got the videos in there. When it comes to the preview, it is just uploading it. If it does start to give you any sort of grief, we'll just close the preview. And there we go. What I will do is actually, I'll just, to show what it looks like, I'll just delete some bits. Now with your videos, you may go, actually, I want to trim the clip. So this is the clip I've got.
So this is part one.
And maybe I want to...
Where part one.
I want to get rid of that cough.
Where I'll talk about something to do with whatever the part.
Lovely, good. So now I can edit that video down. I can make it a little bit more interesting. And all I did then was I clicked on the video, and then you got the little scissors tool down here. So let's have a look at what we've got as a whole piece put together. So we'll give a little. Now with the free version, what it does is it has a little Animoto logo, which is quite small. It's in the bottom hand corner. It doesn't really get in the way of anything. You can pay for the larger package if you want. It's about, I think it's about £20 a month, and it just removes the logo, but it's not really that much of an issue. Because what we're going to do from here is, once we've finished with the video, I'm going to show you how to download it, upload it to YouTube, and then you can put it on Twitter. So this is our video. Might shorten that actually.
Talk about something to do with whatever the part 1 is of the video.
Lovely. So that bit there goes on a bit too long actually. So I'm going to shorten that one. And again, all you do is you click on the video and I can increase the length of it, the size of it, add some bits and pieces. If I want to add a new slide, I just add a block. And then when I hit add block, it gives me these options here. So maybe I want burst. So I can go for burst. And then all I do is I just put pictures in here. So let's get some stock images in here. I'll just add, let's see what I've got. So I'll just put some pictures in that I've got on my computer. There we go, fantastic, good. So I've just put some pictures on. So maybe you want to have some pictures of the school that these are actually just my Zoom backgrounds. So I'm going to give some bad advice here for people. There we go. So that's just a bit too fast. I'm going to have that slower. So it's a fun way of just creating, you know, if you want to put some pictures of what the kids have been up to at school and stuff, it's quite a nice way of doing it. Now, once I'm happy with that, I'm going to hit Untitled 2, and then I'm going to hit Export. Now, when I hit Export, what this is going to do is going to give me a few different options of what I can do with this video. So it's just going to generate it. And that's saving it to my file. So at the moment, it's not kind of doing anything really. It's just stored purely on Animoto. Okay, so once that's done, there we go. There's our video. So I can play this. That's what I mean by the little logo. It's very small. It's not really that much of a pain.
To do with whatever the part 1 is of the video.
Fantastic. Now, once I'm happy with this, I've got a few things I can do. I can share it, and from share, you can add it straight to your Twitter account. You can put a link onto the Gmail page, or you can embed it. You can put it on Tumblr, WordPress, Vimeo. There's quite a few options for you to do there. And you can also share it direct to your YouTube page. So you can do that. You also have the option here to download it. So if I download it, there it is at the bottom hand corner, I've got it as a hard copy video for me to use. And that's quite a nice little tool for us to have. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to share it, and I'm going to share it to my YouTube account. And again, because everything's already all linked together through Chrome, it'll add that video straight to my YouTube. And I'm going to show you why that's important later on. Let me just go to my YouTube account while we're here. Wonderful. If we go back to the Animoto, let's go back to my home page. You know, you don't have to follow a template. If you want, when you go to create, you've got the basic videos that are there. So you can start one from absolute scratch, but I do quite like the templates because it has all the pre-made fonts and bits and pieces that we can use. Now, one that I've done before in the past, and I think I showed it yesterday,
Part 1.
was the idea of using that whiteboard feature that's on Zoom, especially if you're recording. So you can use the whiteboard. I just recorded myself on Zoom doing a mathematics sum and voiceover.
Now on this part,
So again, if you want to make some little interactive videos to send out to your class, Animoto is a great way of doing it. Let's just go to my account. So what this should be doing is it's going to start uploading that video that I created. So there's my video from there. Okay. Fantastic. Any questions at all about Animoto? Put them in the chat box. More than happy to answer them. So yeah, you can post to Twitter, you can post to Facebook, anything at all. It's all on there. and it's completely free. Okay. Next little tool for us to look at is Poplet. Now, Poplet is something that I think not many people have really kind of used again. I think it's one that's a little bit of a shame that people should be using it a little bit more. So Poplet is a thought shower tool for collaborative learning. So if I go create a new Poplet, hang on, let me just delete one I've got. There we are. So when I create a Poplet, I get this blank page here. And what I can do on this screen is by double clicking, I can start adding little text boxes. So let's start adding some text into this box here. So I go fossils. I can then double click somewhere else and I can add, maybe I'm going to put some little titles and stuff in there. I don't know that much about fossils. I don't know why I picked fossils. Now, with this, it's a great way of getting students to thought shower ideas together. I can connect ideas together. So let's connect these ideas together. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a little arrow. They're going to play around with each other. Great. And again, I can just double click. I can add pictures in here. So either a YouTube video. So if I have a YouTube video I want to add into that, I can have a link to other bits and pieces. So there's a little YouTube video link. I can upload other files and stuff on here. Now, one of the most important uses of this and what I really like about it is this ability to share between. So if you've got students and they'll work on a project, say for example, I've created this and I said, okay, I want my learners to start adding some ideas about different types of fossils in the classroom. So I've created this. I'm then going to go to share. Now I've got two options here. Social means that I can make people can look at it, or I can add the email address. Now you have to add in the email address. It's one of the things with it. It doesn't kind of give you a link for it to share. So I've now added that email address to that student. So let's go to my other students account. And what they should see when they go to their inbox. When they refresh, they'll see a link to this thought shower. So I can actually start getting more than one student to collaborate on a thought shower ideas. Again, it's a great collaborative tool for them to share their ideas and bits and pieces going forward. It may take a while. Hurry up. It's being a bit slow. So if I show you something while that's waiting for it to load, if I go back and show you some of the examples. So this is one that I've done in the past with people. So I did fossils and bits and pieces here. So you can see here I've got one learner and they're all kind of working together on it. Now what you can also do with this is I can, if I double click here, I can add a link to a range of other tools as well. Let me just zoom in a little bit. So I can have it as a link to a file I've uploaded. They can add YouTube URLs and bits and pieces. And they can also kind of make new Poplets and add them together. So when they go to share, oh, there we go, there's my two people working together. It's just a real simple tool for getting people to work together on different ideas. So if you are looking at ways of how to get them to kind of go together, this is a great way of doing it. Going back to the question earlier on how does this work on iPads and tablets, really well. Because again, it is literally just, they just click on the screen and it's a great way of kind of getting them to collaborate and work together. Don't have to add too much about it. So hopefully that's come through. No, It's still giving me grief. I think this is the issue with using Firefox. But that's Podlet. It's a thought share activity. Great for planning. What I would say here is for yourself as a teacher, maybe create the initial idea with the little boxes of information and then send it out to them. It's always a useful one. Now, if you are really keen on getting these collaborative tools, the key one that you'll probably hear a huge amount about is Padlet. And I want to kind of show you some of the bits of how I've used Padlet before. Now, the thing I like about Padlet is I think it's just the kind of range of different things you can do with it. And more importantly, you know, good planning makes this really easy. So I'm currently running a mentoring program, an MA module. And the first task I got them to do was I want them to define mentoring, define coaching, similarities and the differences. What they've done by collaborating together and working is actually, if they've done it correctly, they should have shared amongst them huge amounts of academic sources and ideas as a group. And that is always available for them. And I think this is one of the key things we should look at when it's with Padlet. It's not a one-off task. It's something that they can use again and again and again to help support them. So to create a Padlet, again, we're just going to log in. We're going to go make a Padlet. And we've got quite a few options here. So the wall is where it's all over the place. It's just shared as a group. Canvas allows us to link ideas together. Again, very much like Podlet. Stream is a top to bottom. But I quite like the shelf one because I think the shelf, again, it gives us this kind of, we can set the template for our learners. So let's go, let's call this one Good Rules for the Classroom. Okay. And I'm going to start posting. Now, what I can do here as a teacher is I can go straight away, what is good behavior? And I can save that. And I can put here, what is bad behavior? Again, I can save this. Now, I can move these around as much as I want. But what I can do from here is I can go straight on to share. And I get quite a few options here. I can either get a QR code, which I can download as an image. So there we go. I can copy that image and I can save it somewhere. I can also get a link. But what I can also do with Padlet, and one of the things I like, it links straight to our Google Classroom. So if I click on share on Google Classroom, it will give us this little drop box here where I can choose the class and I can share it straight to it. And I'm going to do as an announcement. And I'm going to hit go. So this is our Padlet link. So I'm just going to post that on there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the settings. So there's a few things you can do with the settings. I can still require a moderator to approve. I can still filter profanity. I can also allow them to comment on posts. I think this is quite a key thing. I can allow them to share ideas. What I'm going to hit is attribution. So that gives it an author's name above each post. So who did what and where. So I've now put that Padlet onto our page. So if you do want to go onto the Google page, you should see that on the Google Classroom, and you should be able to now click and post onto that box for us. So if you do want to go in and have a go, there we go. So you can see how I can actually, I've got it set as the moderator, so I can approve any post before it goes live. It's always a good thing. Good, so there's a few, I can see them as they live, as they come in. And again, the key thing for use of this is making sure that you go back. So maybe, again, this is something that you could do away from the classroom. And then the next day you put it up on the board and you go, oh, some great ideas coming through. I can share them. So I can approve posts before they go in, and now they are available. And that's always shared. This is a great tool for use for, say, like you want to create like a set of rules from it. Because what I can do, once I'm happy with this, I can hit share, and I can download it as an image. I can share it to Twitter. I need to turn that setting off. And I can save it as a PDF. So I can save it as a picture. Maybe it's something we can put on the classroom wall. It's a great little tool. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy on this the embed code. So I've gone to share settings, I've gone to embed code because I want to go back to a piece of software I looked at earlier, which is stop adding posts, guys. It's not letting me type. Okay, so I've copied this, is called the embed code. And I'm going to go back to the Microsoft Sway. So let's go back to my Sway design, because I want to show about how we can use this and how we can start adding all of the tools that we've used so far. So I'm going to go to my box, I'm going to add, and I'm going to go to media. And this time I'm going to select embed. Now, all I do is I paste that embed code into my Sway design. I can make that large. I'm quite happy, and that's done. And I can add my next one. So what I've done now is on that document that I created about the mentoring, or whatever it was, I've now got a Padlet, an interactive activity. What else can I add to it? Well, let's say I want to add my video. So I can drag a video that I've created and put that in there. Or I can put, again, if I go to my YouTube account, say let's go to this lesson here. There we go. There's my lesson. I'm going to go to share. Now I'm going to go to embed code again. I'm going to copy that embed code. So Control and C, or you can just hit copy link. Fantastic. Go back to my Sway account, go to embed, and I'm going to put that code in there now. What else can I add into this? Well, I've got my Padlet in there, I've got my Story Jumper, I can put lots of other links and bits and pieces, but now I'm starting to build up this activity. Let's have a look at, see how it looks so far, and let's play it. So I've got something that is quite interactive. That's my Zoom video. That's my voiceover, which I can add. There we go. There's my interactive, is that what you get in your classroom? That's my Padlet that we've added. And there's my animated video that we've got. So we can really start to build quite an interactive sort of tool with this Sway. Once I've finished it, I can share it. So I can either send them a link, or I can get an embed code and I can put that into a Moodle account. I can require a password if I want. But if you're looking for that next step with what you do and you want to start putting all of these tools into one place, I really do rate Sway as a way of kind of pulling everything together. Because something like this is something you can create over the course of an entire year. You can get multiple staff to create videos, start sharing ideas, put it together. It's something that does look really nice. We can change the styles on it, so it doesn't have to look like that. It can look horizontal. And something like this, once it's put together, just looks so much more interesting than your generic publisher document. You've got something here. Maybe you want to put in there, questions that the teachers or parents want to ask us, or students want to ask us. You can really start to put together a range of different ideas and become that digital school that you want to kind of move into. And that's kind of the sorts of things I was going to talk about tonight. There is so much out there that's you know, I would say to you, if you do get the chance, you know, play around with it. There's so many tools there, and I think it's one of those things that I only really learned about it through playing with it. What I would also advise, there's a great website, if you get the chance, and you've got to know. Okay. Again, this is another one I'll put on there, another link for you. And you can't see it, can you? So now, some of you may know Reddit. Reddit is a message board site. It's a way of sharing different ideas and bits and pieces, but they have different communities. And one of the communities is called The Internet is Beautiful. Now, I use this quite a lot because basically what it is every day people go on, they post different links to things. This is how I find these websites. I don't just know them. I research and I find them this way. Again, I'll put this link on the classroom page. But this site here gets updated all the time, so an hour ago. It's just different websites that people have found that they think that's really interesting. Here's a website that shows a chocolate toxicity meter for dogs. I found one the other day. This one creates word clouds. This one has a surprise Mexican mariachi band, if you want it. There's lots of little things. I found one on here the other day, which was interactive. This one translates English to phonetic alphabet. There's huge amounts on here. That is one of those things where I say, get involved and really kind of look and play around with it. Now, what I would say is if you see anything with NSFW, I'll just put that in the chat box. Okay. I'll put it to everybody, actually, not just to one person. Don't click on it, okay? Because that means it's not safe for work. So basically it means that just don't click on it. But this is a great one for finding lots of different websites and lots of different pieces that are out there. You can spend hours trawling here. You know, what's this? Sounds from around the world. I don't even know what this one is. This one just plays sounds from different places. It's got microphones in different places. There we go. That's what the sound of Ghana is currently like. You know, where else would you find a website like that? Thank you so much for coming along for the 3 sessions. Again, it's quite intensive amount of stuff really for